Um, Good morning or afternoon.
Hey, oh there, gosh.
Hello. Good morning or afternoon.
Let's see. Yeah, it's still morning here.
All right.
Where are you?
Hello. My name is Alexander Theodule. I'm a college student in Georgia State University. Right now, I'm
Nice.
home in Georgia. You know, and
Yeah,
uh,
cool.
I've been doing some heavy research on MADtv prior to this whole college project I've been doing,
Oh,
and
wow.
reach out to the cast and writers if I could. So,
Yeah. Did you
glad
get
you.
anybody else?
Haven't heard a response, but Pat
I'm the
Cook
nice one,
like it.
Alexander. I'm the nice one.
Look, I mean, like nice mean it's just good to get all sides of like, the whole experience. But
Yeah,
I've heard a few
yeah.
things here and there about it. I've watched Bobby Lee's Tiger Belly podcast. I've seen your interview. I've seen your stuff with Ike and Aries and Taryn too. That was a bit of a rare one. But
Oh, yeah, right.
it's good to reach out when I can and meet everybody. And
Yeah,
I'm trying to do the best with what I can. I know our time may be brief, so I'll try to keep the questions a bit, I guess a bit quick and specific. I'm not trying not to spill
sure.
too much.
And I'll try and answer concisely for you for your project.
I appreciate that. Well,
Yeah.
if we're to begin, I guess, if you
Yeah.
don't mind, of course, stating your name and what you do, just for the sake of the interview.
I'm Mo Collins, and I am a comedian and actress, artist.
A bit of everything.
Yes, using all my limbs.
Well, thank you, Mo. Now I know before you initially got the gig on Mad TV in season 4, I knew you were doing a bit of sketch comedy prior to that in Minnesota. You
Hmm.
started at Dudley Riggs' Brave New Workshop, right?
I did, yes, yes. That's where I learned how to not only perform sketch but write sketch. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. Well, obviously, sorry. Well, after you first began doing improv comedy, was there a time, either before or after Mad TV, where you began to pursue stand-up? Because I know you've done stand-up as well.
Yeah, I decided, well, the funny thing is I actually did try stand up a little bit in Minneapolis years ago, like prior to coming to Los Angeles. But then after Mad TV, I just thought, well, I didn't go right into getting deals with networks and things like that. So as an artist, you have to keep reinventing yourself. So I took to stand up. I started doing stand up, yeah. And the thing is, for me going out, I had this built-in audience because of Mad TV, so it was quite nice.
Yeah, that's great. That's very important. It's very important to have like people who know you and enjoy you from your past work.
Yeah, so it was, easy for me to slip into some of my characters from Mad TV, and they certainly that's why they came to see me, right? So why not give them what they want to see? But ultimately doing stand up, you need to, especially if you're headlining doing the hour, you can't just rely on that stuff. You've got to build an hour and keep
Yeah.
them.
So, when you first moved to Los Angeles, may I ask, when you first got to Los Angeles, did you just start continuing with improv comedy? I heard that you went to Improv Olympic as well. I wasn't sure if that was before Mad TV or that was just something you did in the process.
That was sort of during, because pretty much any of the improv and sketch companies around Los Angeles would certainly welcome, pretty much any of us from Mad TV that felt like coming and playing in an improv show or something, got asked a lot. And I, of course, love to keep doing that too, and I still do. Uh, if anybody will have me, I love going and doing it because it's keeping a muscle toned.
Mhm.
And especially, as I get older too, it's good for me to kind of go see what audiences are, how they're reacting these days.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's good. I've never been to an improv show before, but I'd really like to go someday.
Oh,
You
you
have
should
any
go. I
what's
think
the
there's a
big name?
bunch of places are you near Atlanta?
Yes, I am. I actually remember
Yeah.
hearing about the black version performing near us.
Oh,
But
go see them. They're terrific.
I'll be
Yeah.
sure
And
to.
plus Phil Lamar.
Yes, Phil Lamar, Danielle Gaither, Jordan Black.
Yeah.
I've heard of all of them. I wanted
Yeah.
to meet them. I wanted to see their stuff ever since I
Well, go
found
see him and
out.
then ask him to do this with you.
I'll sure try.
Yeah.
But I guess what I should get to is when you first got on Mad, in season 4, you were there with you first began with Andrew Bowen and Michael McDonald. And you also brought some characters. You had Trina Moss and Lorraine Swanson.
Yep.
Um, I did a bit of digging on the old Planet Mad TV forums. I tried to like
Oh
find in the
yeah, I
thread. They said
remember
they have like
that.
a long questions thread full of all sorts of questions for you. And they asked about Trina's barren area. Obviously her infertility, but
Yes.
and you said, at least you replied, that that was something that was from the minds of Michael Hitchcock and Jennifer Joyce.
Oh no, I auditioned with Trina.
Oh, well, no, I'm sorry. I'm familiar with that. You brought Trina,
Oh,
your
oh,
improv,
you talking about that particular sketch?
well, that particular expansion on Trina, I believe.
Um, that came actually directly from my audition.
Oh, okay.
It did. That was literally that was what, each in the audition, you had to do 3 original characters. And meanwhile, the whole audition itself, I think, I can't remember exactly, maybe it was 2 or 3 minutes, but so each character you did could really only be 30 seconds. And so I did uh, the bit about Trina being barren.
Hmm.
That was that was her bit. So, then we took it, then when I got cast on Mad TV, which by the way, they're 2 of my favorite writers, just kind of worked with them to flush it out to be a sketch.
Yeah. I've been a fan of, well, probably Hitch the most and Stephen Cragg later on.
Oh, right?
Yeah, because I've
Oh
just
my
loved them.
God.
I've loved their work. I love
Yeah.
seeing Hitch just cameo for Lillian Burner game show, and
Oh,
his filming bits were great for me.
God damn it, he makes me laugh. Oh, I mean, because when he was playing Simeon, he was on stage, he was next to me, and it was just an impossibility not to crack up. I mean, I love him so much, and he just makes me laugh so hard. And to just knowing he's there and hearing him say these things, I couldn't handle it. It was too much fun.
Probably just my favorite is him just exclaiming Star Wars.
Oh, he's brilliant. He's just brilliant and kind. Mm.
Well, oh, you said there were 3 characters you did for your
The
audition.
audition.
One was
Yeah,
Trina,
Lorraine.
right?
Lorraine is what it was. Lorraine, Trina, and a Scotty girl, Sally Kowalski, who
Oh, yes,
really
she
did
was the Packers fan.
right. I made her for the audition because at the time, um, Fox was Fox was the one that was airing NFL, and
Mhm.
so I was trying to like appeal to, here I'll just also we've got this NFL character. That was me just working my shit.
Yeah, it was very surprising to just see her in the season just a couple of times, and then she just disappears completely.
Yeah, they just didn't really like her. That's all right.
I found her energy to be very vibrant, much like you.
Yeah, I found that energy to be exhausting, Alexander. I'm almost a little bit glad I didn't have to keep to her. She wore my butt out. Like that was a lot. Oof.
Well, nah, I think probably, other than of course your own characters, which you performed amazingly, and I think probably the other very unique thing about you is the sounds you've made on the show. Definitely, whether it be Lorraine's coughing sounds or probably some of the greater shouts that you've done. I
Oh
remember,
my God, that's hilarious.
well, like
Alexander,
it's,
I love this. I love this take that I love this thing you've picked up about me and my sounds. I don't know if I've ever quite looked at it like that, but you're right.
well, you see, like when you have about 5 seasons worth of just great sounds, it kind of
Oh,
easy
yeah,
to
like I'm
pick
going to
up.
my grave with that one.
Like I get,
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Oh, there's that, from Doreen. Oh,
yeah,
like
those
just
the high pitched things that Trina does. That yeah, that
It's
Yeah,
up there. It's up in my head.
yeah, it's a lot. I think I
I
started to
wonder if
really
this
pick
is
up.
why I like doing animation so much.
Oh, I wasn't familiar with most of your animation credits except for Robomom and Invader Zim. Has it been
Yeah,
easier for you to just get voice work?
it's not easy for me to get voice work. It should be, but it's a very close-knit, you know, world. It's,
Yeah.
but I did I did just start work on Kevin Hart's new animated series.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Cooking up
I
something
get to play all the
special.
crazy white ladies,
Uh,
and I'm excited.
I did notice a lot more of the sounds. I started to really pick it up after I saw a season 7 intro, The Pro. Now that was
Oh
like
my God.
that was when you like it was just more important like the shock you had in your voice into the climax of the open, like it turned from humorous to like almost horrifying.
You know why? It was horrifying. Do you know what I mean? Like my imagination goes a little crazy sometimes, and honestly, being in that crazy thing, it was like a horror. So it was very easy for me to have some sort of real visceral reaction to it.
Yeah, gosh.
It was terrible, like awful, just awful. How filthy awful.
Yeah, it was crazy,
It was crazy.
man. Geez, oh, getting lost. I'm going from one era to another.
Yeah, let's do it. Wherever you
So,
want to go, Alexander.
I remember, I guess, moving on a bit to season 5. I was lucky enough to get one of the tapes actually on
Oh,
VH.
wow.
This one has episode 1 and 23. It's pretty nice. I love this season so much. Um,
Yeah, that was so weird how they only put out these randoms. It was such a bummer because to be honest, I would love to watch all of them again. I've forgotten half of it.
I've tried my best to find them when I can, doing my best to
Yeah.
pick up sketches here and there and sort of just squish them together, make a
Yeah.
whole out of them. I guess what I wanted to ask was, coming into season 5, obviously you were a bit, you had a bit of teamwork with Michael McDonald,
Yeah.
Rob Stewart and Doreen. When he first wrote a Stewart sketch, I knew he brought that from the Groundlings. When he first wrote a Stewart sketch, did he write Doreen with you in mind?
Not at all. No, it was a bit of a daunting undertaking because do you know who Mindy Sterling is? The actress?
That name does sound familiar.
Yeah, she's a super talented character actress, you know, and she did Doreen Larkin with Michael at the Groundlings.
Oh,
So, you know, there was this sense of a little bit feeling bad, right? Because here I was going to do something that really was her role, but there Michael got on MADtv and he asked me to create an overbearing mother. So I very much on purpose did not watch any video of Mindy Sterling playing Doreen because I knew that I did not want to take from her at all, you know, any more than it already felt like I was taking from her just by doing it on the show. Um, so I created a different Doreen, um, which was just creating an overbearing mother. Very Midwest. I'm from Minnesota, so there was that element to it. But the funny thing is, that week of rehearsal for the first Stewart sketch, I had lost my voice of all things. And so my voice was like this. And so from the first time I did it, I just so you can hear how it's otherwise it might have been like this the whole time. But because I had lost my voice, it sounded more like this. And so that's where it stayed. You know, it just kind of stayed with my laryngitis the whole time. I mean, obviously Doreen gets very loud, but yeah, this element was because I couldn't speak that week. Isn't that crazy?
Well, it's surprising to see how you have to sort of improvise on the spot with it. Just man,
Yeah, the show must go on, right?
yeah.
Yeah. But it turned out to be actually a really interesting quality for her, as if she's trying to be this demure, quiet, lady thing, but she's not.
Wow, man.
Loud. She's loud.
Oh, you kill me. Yeah. Well, well, then later on in season five, I remember Michael tried introducing new characters. He started with Fight and Ron, and
Oh
then
God,
you
yeah.
were his girlfriend, Kathy. So did that one he started to write more with you in mind for that as a duo?
Um, I think maybe. I don't know specifically. I don't know that I ever asked him, but obviously he would write these sketches and he would cast me in these parts. So yeah, I would say so. Um, yeah,
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 because I mean, it's interesting noticing how you and Michael team up in this season. Like, obviously, like if we're just omitting Fine Ron and Kathy because they were much later on in the season, there was
yeah.
the Lorraine sketches where you often terrorize Michael with your tampering of objects around him. It's very funny, and as well as being sort of the first Shelley in the Marvin Tikva sketches.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about those.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah,
Um.
the thing that Michael and I think, realized with each other is that we play a great straight off of each other's crazy character, and I think because Michael and I both come from an improv background, and so we always had this great trust with each other because we both liked to go off the page, as it were, into improv land. And certainly, after the first pass through the sketch, which was on script, so camera would get it, but then, the second pass, Michael and I knew knew that the gloves could come off and we could just, have a playground and kind of mine for comedy gold while we had an audience there.
Mhm.
So I I'm I think that's why. I think Michael and I trusted each other, um, implicitly to serve each other's characters really well, but to also, as improvisers, serve the sketch as well. We're a really good team for that.
Hmm. It's nice. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for that answer, Mo. Uh,
thanks.
ooh, where to go from here? Um,
Yeah.
I had questions ready after this. Ooh, let's
Okay,
see,
we can
what
just
was I
sit
thinking
here and talk.
of? Yeah. Um, well, still sticking a bit with season five. You know, I guess when you were, obviously you talked a bit about, getting to know the writers a bit more as you were beginning with Mad. I remember I talked about Michael Hitchcock, lovely guy, Jennifer Joyce. I know there was also at that time there was still Terry Sweeney and Lanier Laney
Oh, wow, yeah.
and Brian Adams. Devon Shepard too. Oh, wait, that reminds me. I did
Vaughn.
have a question about a bit later on in season seven, when for some interesting reason you and Aries teamed up as a couple of crack addicts. Uh,
Yeah.
that was a bit of a surprising thing, because it seemed so odd seeing you two work together.
Oh, we love to work together. Aries and I get along great, we always did. Aries doesn't get along with everybody,
Yeah,
but
I've heard about it.
yeah, but he and I formed a real sincere friendship. I think that we had great respect for each other, and I wasn't afraid to say things to Aries, and I think he appreciated that. And more than anything is that Aries and I both were trying to go for the best work that we could. Like, that's definitely something that we shared, aside from whatever backstage antics were happening in politics and such. Aries and I really wanted to do our best work, um, be better ourselves than we ever had been. Like, we were always striving. Um, I loved when I got to work with Aries, and those two characters were definitely a favorite because of that. And now, as much as our show is a very diverse show, and I love that, it's harder to find things where, a combination like that that really worked as, this biracial couple that was just, I think, really dynamic.
Hmm.
We loved doing those, and we also were so excited because we took those roles seriously, like, we were being dramatic actors. I mean, yeah, it was comedy, but we were, like, dead serious on, like, "I'm gonna get this right. I'm really gonna play a crack at it. Like, let's be good at this. Let's be really good at this. Let's make this shit real."
Well, I have to say you definitely did a great job.
I think so too. I'm actually really proud of those. And Aries too, like, we just, we could riff, we had good chemistry together.
Mhm.
We did really well,
All right,
and we had
well,
fun doing it.
it's great to know.
Yeah.
A bit moving on a bit to I guess I've talked a bit about your connection with the writers and some of the cast members. I want to talk a bit about your connection with the female cast because
Yeah.
after you came in the next season, the female cast was beginning to grow a bit. Season 5 there was Brooke Totman. She was there for a little bit. Next season Stephanie Weir comes in. And then the season after you have Catherine, and so you, Catherine, Steph, and Deborah, you all join together and you make these sorority row sketches, the Kappa Kappa Kappas. Um, I was, of course, most interested in your performance as Toby because, well, it was a bit quirky, but I think
Yeah.
that like the female cast was just very strong and really worked together. Even with a bit of shifting there with Nicole leaving at the end of season 6.
Yeah.
How was working with the new females that were coming in? How was that for you?
Well, it was very interesting when we kind of were going through those phases of, just sort of trying out these actresses. They would get deals for like 2 episodes or 4 episodes just to kind of try them out in a way. Um, and I didn't it was strange because, you know, they were so because they were pretty, they were dead set on trying to find successful characters for them, right? And that's something that those of us that came on as like series regulars, we came with those things, right? Like we came bearing gifts of characters and the ability to do that. Not to say that these women didn't have that ability, but with some of them, it was a bit of a struggle. Um, and so, the frustrating side for I would say was that there was so much attention spent on trying to create recurring characters for these some of these women, and what would take a back seat was like characters that I was trying to push forward, new characters that I was trying to get, but those took the wayside to make room for these, new characters, which just weren't taking, they weren't they weren't always working. It just some of them just weren't working.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be as kind as possible with
I
what
mean,
I'm
it
saying, but
happens. I know during those like season 6 and 7, there was like with the influx of cast members, there also became an influx of new characters they were trying out. Some were just one-offs, others did become recurring, but it really
yeah,
depended. It really depended on how people felt with the cast. I
yeah.
mean, I
They
remember.
were so there was a strange, and this came from higher up too, that that, if women were going to be on a comedy show, we also needed to be sexy.
Oh,
Which
oh,
I think, this is one of those chicken, which is first the chicken or the egg questions. And to me, the way I've learned it to be is this: a person can be found sexy because they are funny. So when you got somebody coming in because they're sexy, but then they might not be funny, that sexy just loses its shine pretty fast, and it doesn't have longevity on a show like Mad TV. Um, if when I think back to the comments that were coming in at the time, um, you know, Alex Borstein, Nicole Sullivan, myself, these, funny women were getting all kinds of comments saying how sexy we were, which just kind of tells you, it's like, so those shiny new objects coming in were shiny for a second, but then if you can't do the work, that the show is trying to do, then so I just don't know why they kept trying to get this pretty girl, because which brings me back, or us back, to the sorority girls sketch. Um, I built my character Toby because I was a little bit mad that I had this great character that I wanted to get going, but the executive producer said, "No, we need to get a character going for this other woman." And so we're sorority girls. And I'm like, wow, okay. Okay. So um, if you go back to the first one, watch me playing it. What I'm doing the entire time and in between takes, I'm staring right at the executive producer going, like this stick, is this what you like? Is this is good? Is this okay?
I thought that was an interesting character choice. You just staring and doing that
No,
awkward.
I was just giving him exactly what he wanted, like this. Just I was selling myself out, but in doing so, when you put that on me, it turns into a character.
Yeah, and they were like, I mean, the other girls, they were pointing that out a little bit. Still was noticing you doing that. Man,
Yeah. Yeah,
wow.
go back and watch. You'll see me actually during the sketch. I am like, "Ah, like, is this funny? Is this what you want?"
Wow.
I was being real bratty is what I was being. But again, the irony of that moment is that it ended up being a recurring character. And person that the sketch was written for wasn't there anymore.
Oh, I guess I could see a bit of that sort of pushing sexy a bit over funny with something like Glamazon Hunt.
Yeah, that
But
was that was the higher ups on the show asking that. I mean, I'm going to be real blunt here. When I was first cast and went in for a consult into the hair and makeup department, I got hired onto a comedy show, and yet they sat me down in that chair, and the first thing they said to me was, "We need to raise your fuckability quotient." That was that was what came down from the higher ups.
wow.
Hadn't even been in front of the camera yet. "We need to raise your fuckability quotient." And
Yeah.
it's such a misguided, foul look at how it works anyway. Because, like I said, people find you sexy or and all of that because you're funny, and ultimately doesn't matter. It's comedy. We're supposed to make you laugh.
Hmm. Yeah, I've heard a lot about that toxic environment that came with the show. And I'm sure there was a good bit of that with the constant tapings just to get a show out every week, every Saturday, and then making sure that another show was ready for the Saturday after.
Yeah, yeah. It was a factory. It's a comedy factory. Um, and it's funny. I'm sure you could say that there was toxicity, and yet in looking back, I don't. Yeah, there was stuff, but it's nothing that eroded eroded me, as it were. I only really look back and have incredibly fond memories of all of it. It's a big family, right? Like, and any family, you have your problems, but they're family,
Yeah.
and that's how it was.
Yeah. I guess getting to the later years of your career on Mad, season 8 and 9 and onward, like with the guest stars. Um, I noticed in season 8, you're still going on strong. And then new people are still coming in. You got Ike and Josh from Boom Chicago, and
Mhm.
also your friend Paul Vogt. I didn't actually know before
Yes.
the research that you two were friends and even neighbors at that point.
Yeah, we go way back to when we were both streetmosphere actors at Orlando Disney. Like,
Oh,
that's yeah, we go way back to that. And then yeah, then he finally moved to LA, and of all things, he lived on my street, just down the street, like half a block.
yeah. I mean, like with that in the rerun show being
Yeah,
produced by Quincy Jones and David Salzman, I guess
so
everything just sort of
crazy.
clicked.
Just crazy. Like, what are the odds of that?
Yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
guessing, did you end up putting in a good word for him? Uh,
Nothing. No. Mm-mm.
he just came in and auditioned by
Mhm.
their recommendation, and it just worked out for him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think what happened because was it David Salzman who did the rerun show?
Yeah, I'm pretty
Well,
sure.
the rerun show is what got him Mad TV.
Hmm.
That's I don't even know that he auditioned for Mad. I think they just y- liked him from the rerun show and brought him on.
I mean, what I saw from an interview, they got him from an interview that Paul had. They got him from the rerun show,
Yeah.
and he negotiated a bit of his first contract with them for
Yeah.
the full season as featured.
Yeah. Yeah. But it just that was just I had nothing to do with it. That was just kismet.
Wow.
I know. Crazy.
Yeah, I was surprised seeing it. I did notice
Yeah.
I did notice for the last Lorraine sketch you had when you were a cast member, Happy Trails. Uh I guess did you write Paul in as Carl, Lorraine's husband?
Yeah, I did. That was me. That was me.
Well, nothing like helping friends out. Uh, it was
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he was the right person for it too. Like just
yeah.
he was the right person to play him, you know.
He did a
Plus
nice he did a
and
nice
and
job
like they're
pairing up
both
with you.
it's a very physical thing too. And like Polly and I, when we worked at Disney, we were in a physical comedy troupe, kind of like Keystone Cops-ish, right? Like so we went to clown school together to do this stuff. So we were very like acrobats and like he used to throw me over his head and stuff like that. So being that Lorraine is a bit of a muppet herself and having Carl, like I knew that the physical possibilities, which you kind of saw in Lorraine Goes Bowling, you could see a lot more physical stuff in that one because I had Polly there to work with, to play off of physically.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The only other thing I really remember somewhat major, well, at least major both in like the forums and online. Well, sorry, and from fans of the show were watching at the time. Well, two things. One was you pairing up with Ike in season 8 and season 9 as Roy and Kathy, the feuding parents, and as well as some people on the forums noticed a character you called Bambi.
Oh
Um,
my gosh, yeah.
yeah, that the mullet. They mentioned the
Yes.
mullet. Um,
Who ended up being Gina in 40-Year-Old Virgin, who ended up being Sarah in Fear the Walking Dead. So
wow.
that worked. Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Trajectory there, but started with Bambi on Mad TV.
from what I remembered in the forum answer, you said that it started as a season 4 sketch that just didn't get picked up, and then later on in season 8, when Bryan Cranston guest starred, they pulled it out again after taping Just for Lesbians.
Yeah, it was written by Lauren Dombrowski.
Oh, lovely
Rest in
lady.
peace, Lauren. Um, yeah, and we tried to get it going, but just didn't happen. And of course, it took Bryan Cranston coming in, and it was just a really well written piece to start with. But I think that they were nervous about trying a new character like that. But that was one of the most enjoyable, fun sketches ever to do. Like Cranston was just a treat coming in there. He was a gamer. He was game. And we just went for it, and it was so fun. And of course, Steph is just genius anyway, so that was it was just great.
You all like really, you all really contained yourself in those roles. Just really
Ooh, you
right
should have
in.
seen what really happened there. Yeah. Yeah, it was, there was some busting and breaking in that. The audience just had a ball. Like it was just great.
Yeah, I actually ended up seeing it in one of the Comedy Central promos, just a little snippet of you as Bambi doing the whole licking and yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, that. Oh, jeez.
Wow,
Oh my God.
that was something.
Yes, it was something.
Well, if I may ask, when you finally left in season 9, partway through, there was a bit of I heard there was a bit of a farewell for you, from the crew, everyone who worked with you and whatnot. What sort of sparked just the feeling to ready to go, after season 9?
I wanted to leave before I knew that the show was skewing younger. You know, that's how they were hiring, and I wanted to leave before I looked or felt old.
Hmm.
That's what.
Well, I don't
Yeah.
think comedy ages too much, Mo.
Yeah, but it's like when you see attention going in a certain direction and you know that's not you, you're just like, make room for the young ones. Come on in.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah. And I also wanted to leave while I loved it.
Hmm. It's a good
Yeah.
way to end things on a high note.
Yeah, and I was hoping that there'd be more for me after I left. There wasn't. Still isn't. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, and of course you made your guesting appearances later on.
Yeah,
Um,
that was fun. Fun to visit because it's like going home.
yeah, were there any of the newer cast members that you really sort of got buddy buddy with that you were able to, interact with in those guest star spots?
Oh, let's see. What did I do when I went back? Well, I had fun with Keegan, and we actually did a couple projects out after my mad days too.
Hmm,
Um, and I saw a lot of these people just out and about at improv clubs and such too. So I still was playing with people.
hmm.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Oh dear. I'm running out of time a bit, but I guess if I'm to speed things up a bit,
All right.
with your later acting your later acting portions, being cast as Joan Calamazzo on Parks and Recreation after a while. How did that first go for you when you first auditioned?
Like any audition, I just auditioned, but once I was cast, what they what they find out is that, just keep the cameras rolling because Mo Collins will keep going. Um, and it was Amy Poehler at the helm, and so she and the writers knew it's like, oh, wait a minute, what do we have here with Mo? We've got some possibility to go forward with this whack job. Um, and so that's what happened.
Let's
Like Amy once said on set, just keep the camera rolling. Mo is here. And it's
when
like I go until they say cut.
yeah.
you know, I just keep going.
Yeah, it's been nice to see you doing comedy for so long. I did also notice a bit of your Lorraine videos during the pandemic with your husband Alex Scooby. Um,
Yeah.
I did have one last question, a bit in relation to probably your most known modern role, other than Parks and Recreation, Sarah on Fear the
Mhm.
Walking Dead. What
Yeah.
was it like transitioning from comedy to now a drama serial kind of show?
Well, it was terrifying. Um, because what a comedian wants more than ever is to be taken seriously. So I was afraid of that. And even though my character Sarah was brought into that world to bring light, it's still a drama, and that's a different. It's just an entirely different way of acting and everything. But I gotta say, like my first scene that I shot with Lenny James, who plays Morgan, um, I felt like I was doing a sketch. I just felt like we were doing one of our serious sketches because and then I'm like, oh, this is all kind of the same after all.
Yeah, there's definitely some tinges of comedy here and there.
There had to be. Like I said, she was wit, she was sarcasm, she was a funny one in the dark. She brought light to the dark. That's literally what they wanted my character to do. And I think, but it's a different kind of light that you're bringing than when you're doing comedy itself. When you bring it into drama, it's very, very different. So that was a great learning experience, a great learning experience. Really cool playtime. I loved it.
Wow, that's great to hear, Mo. Anyway,
Thanks.
I'm really running out of time, but thank you so much.
Use this
Yeah,
video. You can go ahead and do whatever you need with this video. You are lovely.
you're lovely too, Mo. I'm glad you responded. I'm
Good
so
luck with everything.
happy.
Seriously, Alexander. I'm really happy for you. And thank you for this talk.